Good evening and welcome, Dangerlings. It's Wednesday, so that means it's time to get dangerous. Oh yeah, baby! Dangerous! Now, coming to you slightly later from the advertised sort of timings. This is purely for a technological reason, and boy, is it worth the wait. We have got a great surprise for you here on the show tonight. But first of all, hello, Chris. It lives. Yes, of course, it is me, James Foxy Lockhart, your host, and here with the inimitable, the inevitable, the indestructible, it's the Dungeon Master. Well, we're here. That's exactly it. Don't worry about it at all. We are here. We are live. And then, of course, we've got the ineffable, the indefensible. It's Colin. I ran out of iniffers. Go on, he's going to spit some rounds. No, he's not going to. You can't hear Dan. Oh, can you hear Colin? Should be able to. Oh, there we go. Okay, so, Zoom was muted. There we go. So here we go. There we go. You should
Shall
be able to
we
hear
start
the guys.
again?
Let's start again from the beginning. See you in half an hour. No, we're not going to at all. Hello, chaps. How are you?
Good.
Yeah,
mate.
I've been looking at Drummond's bum all day. I've been editing his strip Santa videos that he's been sending. He just sent me them. I was like, "Oh, you can help. I've just there's an editing thing. Can you fix that and do?" There's a bit where the camera cuts, like the camera's not pointing where it's. I'm like, I can't CG you in, Drum. Like,
you are industrial light and Dan.
Yeah,
very good.
I think that's what we expected. But yeah, so we've done that. So I've seen a lot of Drummond today. Not more than I've seen of Drummond before, because the friendship is what it is. But
okay, so hot news there from Dan. He's got a crack habit. And what about you, Colin? How are you doing?
Babes.
What?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris says, I see Colin is coming live from a nuclear bunker tonight. Yeah.
Mate.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can never be too careful. All right.
So the apocalypse is nigh, and I'm just here to tell you that, it's going to be soundproofed.
The revolution will be soundproofed.
This is my sound booth. This is my booth.
This is my booth.
Hello, booth.
It's lovely. Hello. Do you call it Connie?
Connie Booth. It's a good one.
Hey.
I don't, but maybe I will now.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm just going to stroke my walls.
Just going to go into Connie and give it a stroke. Okay, good God. What is going on? I think it must be the later time. We are post-watershed, sort of. Hello, Gundark. Thank you for joining us. Not seeing you on the chats there, but lovely to have you here on Dangerous Wednesdays. And, of course, the slightly later start time will help our overseas viewers and watchers. So welcome, all welcome. So I'm glad you guys are doing good. I suppose everyone's hankering for a bit of news. What do you say? Should we crack on with some danger news?
Danger news.
Yeah, okay.
Danger news. I got the danger blues. Let's get some danger news. Danger.
Amazing. To go with our retro 80s sort of sound check, that is a retro 80s news introduction. Yes, so first bit of news. Gundark 75 has first time we caught us live. Welcome to Dangerous Wednesdays, buddy. So glad to have you along. It's great. It did go in an introduction, said Steph. So that was our excellent stinger there. So what news have we got?
Welcome, Gundark. So we've got a few bits. So the first thing I wanted to highlight is a local thing. The Zellart Scholarship has opened. Zellart is a scholarship that is run by a group called Postmortem Studios. They're based here in the UK. This is an indie games designer. He's done a lot of work for people, including Paizo, but he's also active on the London Gaming Network. And what they do every year is they run a scholarship program for any genre artists. So if you make art that is sort of sci-fi, fantasy, that fits into that, but doesn't necessarily fit into the mainstream, and if you are an artist who is sort of hard up at the moment, or who is in education and could do with some funding to kind of help you progress with that, they have a scholarship where you can get up to £500 just as a grant to help you pay bills or buy art supplies or whatever you need to make that happen. So that is open at the moment. It's open for donations if you want to donate money towards it to help them get the scholarship going, or donate art to it that they can then sell that will help fund this. And if you want to apply for it, all you do is you submit a piece of your art. There are instructions on the website. I will put the details in the video. Submit some art to it, and then the winner basically from that will be granted. Sometimes they split it, but usually it goes out in one lump sum. So yes, if you are an artist in need of some help, get onto that. Or if you would like to help some artists out, get onto that. We'll put the link in.
Nice.
Just for the Dangerlings, what was the name of that again, Dan?
So it is by Postmortem Studios, and it is called the Zellart Scholarship.
Zellart. Amazing. And Colin, if you were to go ahead for this scholarship, which you're not, but if you were, what art would you submit?
What art would I submit? Probably that sting that I just improvised.
Yes, mate.
Yeah.
You can have a grand. There we go. A full.
Thanks, pal.
Is that a monkey? I can't remember.
A monkey's 500.
Monkey's 500. Well, you can have a monkey and a half, mate. Tell you what.
Have a couple of monkeys, will ya?
Have a couple of monkeys. So I'm not pouring. That's great. I would love to hear about stuff helping out the arts. So that's tremendous that people are out there. However, there's something more pressing, something more important, something more world-shattering in this news article, and that's leggings check.
Leggings check. Oh, it's hanging around, Matt. There we go.
No. Matt actually asked twice, and I negated it. Whoa, Lee! It's the Green Lantern. Here we go. It's the reboot everyone's been asking for.
I'm wearing my elf leggings now. I didn't put a Christmas hat on yet. I'm not quite there because I figure we've got a few more streams before Christmas. But
yes, we probably have. That is terrific.
I bought a tree today.
You bought your tree today. Excellent. Did you go live tree, real tree, or fake tree?
Oh, yeah, real tree, because I have nowhere to store a fake tree. So
fair enough.
That will be getting decorated later.
Do you know what? I love the smell of real trees. There's nothing quite as Christmassy as wafting up a good bit of pine. But my goodness, you pick up the needles for the rest of the year.
Oh yeah.
It is absolutely great. Yay! Hello, Eric Wazuski. Eric?
Hey, Eric.
Hey, Eric.
Wachowski?
Wazuski. Give me a virgin gun. So that was terrific. So any of your news? Colin, do you have any news?
Oh, yeah, I got some news.
Dan got some news? What do you got?
I got a couple, but Colin, you go with yours because yours is really exciting.
All right, yeah, I created a web series.
Oh, hold the phone. Ooh. You created a what?
Yeah, me and my friends, there's a friend of mine, actress called Carlotta Morelli, and Lockdown 1, way back. You remember Lockdown 1, everybody?
Lockdown 1,
well, yeah. I remember Lockdown 1.
I ate all my shoes.
Oh, dear. So in Lockdown 1, when we all rushed out and we bought loads of toilet roll and pasta, right? And then we hoarded up and we didn't know what was going on with the world. Myself and an actor friend of mine, we decided to create something instead of like wasting our time, because we can do that in lockdowns, can't we? We can just say, I mean, we did a lot of that as well. But we, so don't feel bad if you didn't get much achieved, Dangerlings. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we decided to sort of go, okay, let's do something. So we wrote this web series about two people stuck in lockdown who kind of meet across dating apps, because that's the only place that you could meet people at the time, right? So we called it Basically Compatible. And there's a reason for that, but you find out when you watch the show. Anyway, so it's released on Monday. It's taken us this long. Basically, what happened is we created this whole thing, we filmed it, and then I got a job. So I needed to go back to work. So I went and did this theatre job, which took up all of my time during the end of the last lockdown. And I've only just got round to editing it all together. So because I was doing basically everything myself. So we've edited it together. We've refilmed. We've done some reshoots. But it's the trailer dropped today. So you can look at it on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook under Basically Compatible. Apart from Twitter, actually, Twitter is basically Compa1. Just go on Facebook and Instagram and you'll see it. Do you know what I mean? Or search for me, Colin Hubbard, and you'll find it, because I'm sharing everything. But it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. How dare you try and sabotage artistic endeavour by getting gainful employment? What kind of a lockdown actor are you? Good God.
I know. It's unbelievable. But it's really exciting. It's really good. We've got
super exciting.
7 episodes, each being released on Fridays. It's a mini web series as well. They're only like no more than 4 minutes, these episodes. So some of them are only going to be 2 minutes. Some of them are going to be 1. It's going to be really snappy. We might edit it all together and have like one long, half an hour long episode at the end of it. We're not sure. But yeah, go and follow us. It'll be really good to see some dangerlings there. That we can
Absolutely.
interact with. It'd be great, man.
And what was the name again? And where can the Dangerlings find that?
Basically Compatible.
Yeah.
You can find that on Facebook. The group is called Basically Compatible. You can look at Instagram. It's under Basically Compatible as well. And on Twitter, it's Basically Compa1. So I think Twitter stops you having a handle so long, so we had to stop.
I went Danger Club Pod on Twitter and Danger Club Podcast and everything else.
Exactly.
Danger Club Pod. That's right.
But go and have a look at the trailer. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Really fun.
There we go. Well, that was a terrific piece of news. I'm very, very glad. And I shall definitely be checking that out. Basically Compatible. And not Basically Compo, which would be something completely different. And only really the British listeners would have any idea what I was talking about.
Yeah.
An old Yorkshireman. So,
that's my next web series.
And he's dead. So what about you, Dan? Any more news?
Yeah, I got a couple of little bits. Just there was a nice post on the Paizo blog this week, giving a shout out to the various PFS groups that have raised money for charity over this year. Nice. It's a regular thing that happens over the year as PF society lodges kind of do charity events and raise money. And there was kind of a concern this year that obviously that there will be less money raised because there's no conventions, there's not a lot of in-person gaming. And actually what has happened is that a lot of groups have done online events and they've ended up raising a lot anyway. So the number has still come out as a really good one. So there's a lot of love on the blog for different groups that have done it. Particularly, I'll shout out to Contingency 2020 and ManCon.
ManCon. That sounds so much like a media company in the 80s. Like that is. Didn't they do Quantum Leap?
Yeah. ManCon.
ManCon, which is disappointingly or not disappointingly, depending on what you think ManCon is a convention in Manchester.
Right.
Okay, didn't see that one coming in. All right.
But they're two UK Pathfinder Society conventions who have raised a load of money for charity over this year, for Extra Life and for all sorts of different charities. So shout out to all of them and to all of the ones across the world who've raised money for that.
Shout out.
I had to have that explained to me when we put it on our Patreon. I emailed Scott when he was putting it up. I was like, what is Shahatat? So I was like, I don't understand it. And he actually had to say it out loud, so I understood what it meant. I was like, oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh, we've all got those things that, that we struggled with. Chris thinks that ManCon is one of Robocop's more disappointing enemies. Yeah, he was. He was just a dude.
Yeah.
Terrific. Okay, well that's good. This is very warm and fuzzy tonight, isn't it? There's actors doing really good, wholesome stuff. There's people raising money for charity. There's grants going out. Is there something to bring this mood down?
Do you want just a massive nerd piece of news?
Yeah.
Go on then. Yeah, big nerd news.
So there's a standalone adventure coming out for Starfinder next year. Starfinder has traditionally only done adventure parts. They haven't done what we play on Danger Club, which are modules and then adventures, short adventures. So they are bringing out their first standalone adventure, which is a level 1 adventure called Junker's Delight. You're going to be taking on the role of junk tourists searching around a crashed spaceship graveyard for riches. Sounds pretty fun. So it's one that will only take you probably, if it's the same as Pathfinder, probably like 4 levels worth of content, something like that. So that's something you can play across a few game systems, but it's not something you just play in one night.
So
and then they're going to bring out another one in September that they haven't announced. It looks like.
So 4 levels. If it's the Danger Club timing, that would be about 4 years play. I think
Oh,
so.
4
Yeah,
years.
yeah. It takes about
Yeah.
4 years. Yeah. We'd find the people to speak to in that junkyard, the abandoned junkyard. There, we'd find NPCs. We'd find them. We'd recruit them. Yeah, we would.
Yeah.
We're going to we're the show that is currently doing the slithering, and we have not yet arrived in Garand.
Yeah. It's going to take your time.
I like to think there's loads of like Eric Idles in that junk. Like in Transformers the movie.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, we talk TV.
Yeah. Amazing. That'd be great. And what
film has the maddest casting. It's insane.
What's it called?
This adventure, it's called Junker's Delight.
Junker's Delight. That's right.
Yeah, not Scrapper's Delight.
Not Turkish Delight.
Not Turkish Delight. No. Not Angel Delight.
Not Rapper's Delight.
Yeah. Junker's Delight. What the Iron Man likes to have for pudding. So yeah, wow, I'm
That'll be-
thick with the random references tonight. Apologies. We've actually had a question.
Yeah,
We got a question from Eric. This is quite a quick one. This is for Dan because Gundog says that this sounds like a good way to get into Starfinder, and yeah, it does sound like a good way to get into Starfinder. And this links into Eric's question of: is Starfinder more complex to play than Pathfinder?
It varies. It is less. I think it is less complex to play than Pathfinder First Edition.
I tell you what. I'm going to rephrase the question. Sorry to cut you off, Dan. Okay. I want Dan. You give me a DM's perspective, and I want Colin to give me a player's perspective.
Yeah.
So Dan, give me a GM's perspective. If you were going to run a Starfinder game, is it more complex than Pathfinder?
It's not. It's kind of, if you imagine that Pathfinder is the evolution of Third Edition D&D, then Starfinder is the evolution of First Edition Pathfinder. So it's not, if you're coming to it from Second Edition Pathfinder, some of it's gonna feel weird because there are different things. But also, if you come from Pathfinder, some of it will feel a lot smoother. There's a lot of things like the stamina system are a lot more straightforward. Mm-hmm. There is stuff to learn. There is a bit of a barrier. Like your first Starship combat may not be fun, because Starship combat takes a little bit of work to learn exactly what it is. I would then say every Starship combat after that will be incredible fun, because once you've got the rules under your head and you've on it, what's that mean? It creates wonderful stories. It's a really fun thing. It takes a bit of an investment, but if you're familiar with, especially if you're familiar with First Edition Pathfinder, then you will get into Starfinder very, very quickly.
Cool. Yeah, you went very Jane Eyre there for a moment, keeping things under your bonnet, referring to your head. Yeah, in fact, that ties up with what Chris said in the chat. With space combat, yes. Without space combat, about the same. But one thing we did learn, do give the space combat a try. Colin, what do you think? Having played both systems, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to echo that, actually, because I think a lot of people give up after their first Star battle.
Yeah,
they sort of go, do you know what? I got into one of those Starship battles and it was boring, and I just think it's boring. I don't want to do that. That's like, giving up after the first Blur album. Why would you do that? That's like giving up after the first Radiohead album. Why would you do that? There's so much more to get into. Do you know what I mean? So those battles are a little bit cumbersome at first, but they do get better. Okay. Starfinder as a player, it is good. It does remind me of playing Pathfinder First Gen actually quite a bit. There are some different things in it, obviously, because it's a different game and a slightly different system.
Yeah.
I really like the stamina thing. I think that's quite a good point to sort of jump into. Yeah. As a player, I mean, if you've played Pathfinder, if you played D&D, you will pick it up pretty quickly. There's a bit more in the character gen, I think. Like when you level up, you get more things to throw on top and more things to concentrate on your character. I think you can really make a character so unique by adding these different things, and that's quite fun. That's quite good. I really enjoyed that part of it. Yeah, man, Starfinder.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, absolutely. I completely echo what you said. And I personally find, because it is set in Spurs, you do get a lot of different races that are really, really fun to play. Like, some of those races are a blast, and they're very, very distinct. So you get some good flavors right from the get-go. Picking your sort of species, it really affects your character, and that's before you've even picked what you're going to do with them. Like, it's really, really cool. And there's loads of any sci-fi nerds out there and geeks like us will revel in some of the crazy things that they've come up with. I'd say the only bit would be jarring, just because it's worked so well in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, is the revised combat system is not there. Yeah. So you're going back to the one action, one bonus action, and one move, which is, we've spoken about that ad nauseum, but the new system, Paizo really nailed it. The point system is great. Yeah. But yeah, definitely check it out, guys, and let us know if you do. If you do check out Starfinder, we love to hear what you guys are up to, what you're playing, what you're trying out. Also, Greg, so it goes under the Rogvergurg is the title. I know he plays a lot of Starfinder, doesn't he? So he's probably on the Discord. Great person to ask. And get on the Discord and ask some questions.
A lot of good people. The thing that excites me about them having some standalone adventures is the one thing that Starfinder teases being really good at, and is really good at if you could put the time into it, is homebrew, because they've got things like the Deck of Many Worlds, where you've got a deck of cards that you can just pull a planet from. You've got stuff like the Starship Operations Manual and some of the lore books, which are really deep and full of really great stuff. So you could create a whole campaign where you just kind of fly around in your starship and you're not following an adventure path. But the way I find that doing big homebrew games, it's really good to have like short adventures that you can kind of just dip in and out of when you want to do them. So I think if there's going to be a few of these peppered through it, you're going to be able to have campaigns like we have on the Danger Club, which are essentially sort of homebrew campaigns, but where we dip into pre-written content.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this will allow people to experience a side of Starfinder that you might not have seen if you've only played adventure paths.
Yeah.
And it's the Wild West, man. You can go out, you can be Firefly, you can you can be the Mandalorian, you can sort of take all of that, great thing about the Western kind of genre and put it into space. And it's sick. It's so good.
It is really, really good. We've had a blast playing. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it is well supported with maps and such. Is that right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, a lot of good maps available.
A lot of good maps.
Not as much Roll20 support for Starfinder, so be aware of that if you're getting into it.
Yeah.
There is not a lot of pre-made content on Roll20, so you're going to have to make your own maps or buy resources from other places, things like that.
Yeah.
Also, when you're creating a character, you have the beauty of lots of different apps on Pathfinder. You've got like I can't remember what it's called. Path Builder 2E, and you've got Path Builder for number one, and there's a lot of that on D&D as well. You can find a lot of websites that you can create characters on. There's not so much for Starfinder. You have to actually put the work in,
or have an amazing GM who puts the work in for you. Thanks, Dan. Well, yeah, so let us know if you check it out. Basically, the long and the short of it, if you've been playing a majority of fantasy, don't be shy. Take that step and leap to the stars. You won't regret it. It is great.
Leap to the stars. James coming up with taglines.
I'm full of them. I'm full of them, mate.
Yeah.
Right, now, moving on, unless there's any other news.
No, that's all.
No. So
Very
we have
exciting.
something a little bit exciting for you, and we have a recorded interview that Dan did earlier today, which is terrific. Now, as everything new on this particularly youthful Twitch channel, I've probably got it wrong. So let's give it a try. I'm going to click over to another page where we're going to. I'm going to try and play this.
So I am here with Fiona from What Am I Rolling podcast. Fiona, hello, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm really well, thank you. Thanks for me for bullying you to make me go on this, but thank you for having me as well.
That's what you've kind of kicked us into doing what we wanted to do. We've been having meetings for ages saying we want to get other people on. We need to do interviews and things with this space. So it's good to have a chance to do it a little bit, and we've kind of crossed over enough times sort of in the general space of role-playing podcasting and stuff, so it's nice to meet up. But tell us about what Am I Rolling? What is the show?
So ultimately, what am I rolling? Can't even get the name right. Ultimately, What Am I Rolling is a very selfish project. I had three things when I started it. I had way too many role-playing books. I'd recently got into role-playing through Dungeons and Dragons, as everyone has done in the last 5 years, and then I sort of spread out and saw all these different, obviously, systems and stuff. So I bought all the books and then never read them. So they just sat there looking forlornly on my shelf. The second one was that I feel like I'm a busy person. I'm not a busy person. I just go and do things. Like I'll be like, oh, there's that thing at the cinema, I'll go see that. Or, oh, this thing at the theatre. And I realised I didn't see my friends enough. And obviously, certainly if you live in London, I'm sure you know yourself, like no one has a schedule, or in the before times, And then I really wanted at work, I do a lot of filming in quotation marks. I'm not a professional filmer or anything like that. Basically, I'm the person who had a DSLR camera and then has progressed into doing all the tech, which is fine. But I was like, for me, I've always listened to podcasts. I've always enjoyed that better because it's so easy to do compared to videoing. So I thought I'll combine all three of getting my skills up as a audio podcaster slash editor, read my books and see my friends more. And that is essentially what my life has been like for the last 3 years, and just learning a lot about role-playing systems and making up stories on the way. So
amazing. So you've kind of had, like, what's your journey into gaming? You say it's sort of 5 more recently with D&D 5th edition, is it?
Yeah, I like, again, it's one of those things where I grew up like, and I'm sure most role players are like this, is like, I loved drama at school and then was told it's not academic, so you got taken away like as a GCSE or whatever, and then went to uni, did all the stuff, like was a proper nerd at uni in the sense of like I was the secretary or castellan of the Doctor Who Society, so I already had my geek stuff there, but I didn't do any role play, didn't do anything like that, because I was just like, you know, again, it's not something, you lose your confidence as soon as you grow up and go past puberty, like confidence is into the ground. And then I come to London and I try and make friends. I was like, how do I make friends? I'll try doing geeky things. So weirdly, I know I say this weirdly, but it's like it was a big part of my life. I played Quidditch for a bit, so wow. Muggle Quidditch, for about 5 years, and I helped run some of the London teams, or I helped take part in it. And as that was sort of dying away, because as with all creative or any sort of nerdy things, there's obviously lots of egos and lots of, like, especially with sports as well, it turns out if you're not good at 25, you're not going to be any better at 28, etc., and all that sort of thing. And I got invited around to a friend's house, a couple of Quidditch people, and they were playing D&D. And obviously I was like, oh, I'd love to try it. I came late, typical, and lots of drinking. They're like, okay, we've picked for you this halfling paladin, and I'd never played before, and it was supposed to be like a joke because I'm quite tall, and in the before times I used to dye my hair really, really blonde, so I looked a bit like Gwendolyn Christie from Game of Thrones. Okay. So like, I have a short night for you, okay. And I just fell in love with it because I'm one of those people that panics. I used to panic when that's it, because they were like, everyone had these really cool names, and I was like, fuck, what's my adventure going to be called? And it came to me and I was like, Susan. My name is Susan, and they were like, well, what's your thing? And I was like, well, I'm just gonna be really big-headed and call everyone else lesser Susans, and that's pretty much been the whole choice. And yeah, I just sort of went from there, and I really enjoyed it. And then because we weren't meeting up, it was like once a month, I was like, but I could do this. I could do it and make people play my games, and then literally just the rabbit hole, and just keep falling essentially from now.
You've kind of done the lifetime's journey of RPG in just a few years. You've gone from I'm going to play a bit to now I'm going to GM to now I'm going to play weird other systems to now I have too many systems to play. This is most of us have 10 years to do.
I don't do things by half, Dan. I've got to be honest. Exactly that.
So why one shots? Why are they particularly interesting to you? Like stuff that you can play quickly? Is it just that you want to play a lot of stuff in a short space of time, or is there something about the format that you like?
That's a very good question, actually. For me, it's a mixture of like trying different systems, because sometimes you'll play a system and it might take a couple of goes to get into it. And obviously more games nowadays when they're being kickstarted do have quick start rules, which is a godsend, because sometimes you read like a book that's 300 pages and the character creation is like right at the end. You're like, oh no, how do I make a character? What can I do? But ultimately, again, another very selfish reason is that I cannot keep a story in my head for more than 2 sessions. I'll have the names, obviously I'll write down stuff, but then like you said, like I'll be distracted by something else. I'll have a really cool idea and I can't necessarily justify it. And there's a mixture of being scared as well. Like I feel there's a lot of pressure as a dungeon master or a games master to keep the level consistent. And once you have like a really great session 0, because obviously everyone comes together, or I found is that people come together and they get it, and then you finish the arc. It's like, well, how do you continue it? And what I've decided is that because I want to try other systems that aren't D&D, because I think most people do know how to play D&D and there's so many podcasts out there that are already doing D&D brilliantly. I thought I'd rather see what else there is out there just to try, because I feel like once you learn a different system, it really improves your own. If you've got a favorite game, if you play one system, you can go, oh, that's a really cool rule, I can put it in here, or I can rule it like this. And I just think learning more about systems makes you can make you a better GM, but also a better player as well. So it's that sort of thing where I like dipping my toes in, getting the stories I want out, but then also just reapplying it back to my love of D&D. So yeah.
Oh, I do miss that about when I was sort of first gaming, and like gaming at clubs where you just pick up a game that you play for that one night, and that's kind of all you do in it, because it's long campaigns. Like the show on the podcast has been going for 2.5 years, and
Oh wow.
and it's sort of huge, and it's fun for that, but it takes a lot of effort to constantly feed sort of story into that. And then when you do that with a social game, I find that long running campaigns, when you're not doing them sort of for a podcast, they can tend to become sitcoms. So they
Yes.
kind of like, they get into a situation where the characters' lives just repeat themselves, and you sort of forget what the motivation was. So I miss that thing of being able to just be like, we're only playing this for 3 hours,
Yeah.
throw everything at it.
Yeah, and you've got that 3 hours to complete, and if you don't, well, book closed. We'll
Yes.
never know, And then, just that. And I think for me as well, playing one shots, like you were saying, like it's been a quick transition from playing them to then running them, because I kind of realized, from my point of view, there's not many female DMs and GMs out there. I'm sure there are. I'm just very bad at researching, so I apologize if you've got like a huge fan base of women going, what? But I've decided to run more games, and then once I finished it, it's like, certainly if I've got female players say, did you enjoy that? Here are the rules for free. Certainly if they're like one-page one-shots, I'm like, here are the rules for free. Please go away and run it for your friends and stuff like that. And I've had a couple of players on the podcast who've come back to me and said, I really enjoyed doing, was it Pride and Extreme Prejudice by Grant Howitt? They're like, I want to play this with my family. And I'm like, here are the rules, go for it. Let me know how it goes. And that's a big satisfaction out of that, just getting more people to become DMs, regardless of gender, I will say. But it's nice to be like, yes, I've done it. I've converted someone.
Indie RPGs and short RPGs tend to trick you into becoming the GM. Like there's so many where you read them, and in the first paragraph there's like, you'll need a GM. If you're reading this, then that's you.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
Shit. Yeah, definitely.
So you played a bunch of them on the show. What are some of the good ones? What's doing it for you in terms of one-shot RPGs at the moment?
Ooh, gosh. In terms of sort of one-shot RPGs, I mean, my favorite one I've done this year, which I appreciate, like 2020 is like, ugh. And actually just saying it out loud, it obviously makes it sort of poignant in a way, but I played for the first time, or ran for the first time, Call of Cthulhu for two of my friends. We played, is it Amidst the Ancient Trees? So just the basic one in the thing. And it was so much fun, because I had played it before as a player for a different podcast, and I really enjoyed just the spookiness of it. And it was just two of them. And we just made such a good story, and I did like a big twist at the end. And I just, I'm sure you have it yourself, Dan, when you give it a twist and you just see one player go, fucking hell, like really like, no, and I'm like, I've got them. And it was just, my heart was great. And I like that system as well, because a lot of, again, mostly with D&D and Pathfinder and all these things where it's like, oh, you need to get a 15 or more, and you just miss out on a 14. Whereas it's like success, hard success, failure, critical failure, like they're quite nice because they're very story elemented, and it's not necessarily like with the Star Wars dice where it's like these numbers and you're like, it's just a lot more flavor you can do with it, I think. And it was great for me.
I've stolen a lot from the Cthulhu kind of style of skill checks, because Pathfinder has now a sort of a grading system for skills of trained, expert, legendary.
Nice.
And it becomes much easier to kind of say, don't roll on that. If you're an expert in that, that's fine. You can just do that. That's just, anything that takes a dice roll off the table, I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
Have you played a lot of solo RPGs? Because they've been the big thing during lockdown, obviously, because we've been stuck indoors.
It's been an actually really interesting one, because I played at least one before we came into lockdown, and typically it was the one that everyone was talking about, and it's a couple of years old now, but The Beast, which is the 21-day story prompt one, where you are having a relationship with a beast, and each prompt each day you do a diary entry and stuff, and it gets quite graphic quite quickly. So that was an interesting one. And solo RPGs are a great format, certainly for podcasting and streaming, because obviously you're now sharing your experience with the world, and that could be, again, as long as you're comfortable with that. And so when I did The Beast, it was quite okay, well, my mother listens to this podcast, so we'll see how this goes and if there needs to be any editing. But yeah, I actually played 4 in lockdown. I played literally the week of the first lockdown. I played a game called Twain, which is a game by Jay Lee from Vermilion Games, and essentially it is, you had a twin, and you used to do magic together, but as you grew up, you stopped doing magic for some reason, and your twin didn't. And then your twin went on to do other things, and now you've had a dream where you're going to meet at a place at a time, and your twin will be there. And you go to that place and at that time, and your twin's not there. So the idea is that you spend the first 20 minutes, writing out these prompts, and then you go to where this place is. So for me, it was a physical place outside down the road. And then you put a timer, and the idea is that you're supposed to text a number or a friend, like as if you were trying to contact your twin. So what I did, I left myself voice messages talking to it, and it was really powerful because it's obviously this. Ultimately, a big spoiler is it's the idea that it is a better version of yourself because you did magic and then you're taking that potential and going on. And with the lockdown and everything like that, it was very interesting. And it was definitely a bit teary-eyed at moments. I know people on bikes passing as I'm like trying to record this in the March weather. Twain was really good. What was the other? I've played Quill, which is like a letter writing RPG. That was really fun. Again, making up letters to write to people and then have dice to see how well it went. What was the other one? The Wretched by Loot the Room that came
I
out.
really want to play The Wretched. I still haven't. I've had it sitting on my hard drive for ages. Never had a chance to play it.
I would do it. It's a very interesting one. So for those who don't know what it is essentially is like an alien type RPG. You are like the survivor of the Wretched, a sort of a sort of not commuter, but a sort of commodity spaceship, and there's this creature trying to get in. And again, there are cards that you do a bit like a Quiet Year as well, and then you have a Jenga tower as well. So it's a mixture of Dread and A Quiet Year, and I got it. It is very tense. Like if you're on your own and you're like, don't screw this up because you can't edit it out. As this huge. I'm just not very good at Jenga. So, but yeah, highly recommend it.
Mechanic. Some people, I'm sort of familiar with it.
So as far as I remember, you might have to correct me on this, Dan, it's been a little while, but essentially when you pull out a card, there's the 4 suits of the cards, and you've got something about the ship, something about the crew, something about the alien, and something about yourself, I think. And usually at the bottom it will say, take a block from the tower, or take 2 blocks and then put them away. And the idea is obviously the more you're doing it, it's supposed to represent your ship, essentially, as it's falling apart. It's just stuck in space and this creature is trying to get inside. So the more you're taking from the tower, the more unstable it is, and you're waiting to be rescued. There's a card at some point that says, oh, the beacon, the safety beacon's been lit. You might be saved. And spoiler alert, it's very hard to get saved. It's great. I just really loved how it put together and stuff. You can also play without the tower. There is an option to do that in case you don't have it. But I did because I wanted to see the full experience of it. The Wretched, I'd highly recommend. And there's an album that comes with it as well, which is really, really good.
We played 1,000-Year-Old Vampire over on a live stream, which was
nice.
Tremendous fun. It's a very good game and a very dark and very frightening game, depending on how you play it. Less so when you do it on a live stream and you allow your listeners to vote on exactly what the viewers to decide what you're going to do at every turn, because it quickly becomes quite ridiculous when you do that. But it's the stuff about memory and things in that is really fun. It's why I love kind of indie games are brilliant for that, for some of the just weird mechanics, like the idea of throwing a Jenga tower and the things that you would never do in a mainstream RPG, because the idea, because you want to fit it all into one book that you can price at an affordable amount and sell to as many people as possible and is easy. So throwing in weird mechanics is quite tricky for something like that. But
that actually reminded me back again, another game that I played this year, and it's come out really recently actually on the podcast. I played Sleepaway by Jay Dragon with the Merely Role Players team, and basically that is the idea. You are summer camp counselors and you're protecting the camp from this evil cryptic type creature that basically steals people's skins, etc. And there's a whole allegory for the LGBT youth and stuff, but its main mechanic is that you are drawing the camp and you're putting things on a corkboard, and it's that sort of, like almost like if you imagine like a big collage as you're a kid with all your favorite memories and stuff like that. And that was really cool. We obviously couldn't do that in person, but we did like a Miro board, and watching the players actually get into it and like properly drawing and stuff like that. And then at the end you have this really cool image to give them. And there's something about that game, listening, like when we played it and then listening back, because it's one of those games where you don't know how it's going to end. There's no set point. You just, here's the story prompt and there you go. And I can't remember the mechanic it uses, but it's about conversation. So you start talking and then you go, oh, I'm going to take a weak move here and I'm going to do this, or well, I'm going to take a strong move, and it's that just negotiation in the story. But knowing that there are certain points where we're like, oh, we're going to hit this note now, okay, and then we're going to invite this creature to manipulate in some way. So yeah, I can highly recommend Sleepaway. It's very, very, very interesting. There is a bit of setup to it though, as I discovered. But it's really worth it.
Like some seem to work better remotely than others. I think I've had a copy of Alice is Missing sitting waiting to be played.
Oh yes,
for weeks, and I know it won't work as well as if I can just get some people in a room and play it together.
Yeah,
with the cards.
I think that'd be really hard to do on a live stream. That's the only thing. Like I'd love to. Yeah, I think now that we're in this sort of this remote world, a lot of the RPGs I think coming out now going, oh, we need to make it accessible or for streaming, because obviously that's the best way people are going to see them and go, oh, I want to play that game as well. But yeah, Alice is Missing looks it looks like such a great game. I really want to play that.
We should say it's a silent RPG, so you're investigating the disappearance of a girl. You're all people from the town. But the game, there's a bit of setup where you talk, but then the rest of the game, once it starts, is played entirely through text messaging or a Discord server or something where you just talk to each other in text. But I kind of like that the unspoken thing of just kind of like half the game is the text, the other part is looking at each other's reactions while you're sending. But is this kind of
absolutely.
It just sounds magic to me. I think
Have you heard? I can't remember who it's by. One of the Rowan Rook and Descartes team talked about it when I interviewed them. But there are ghosts in this Discord. Have you heard of that one?
No, what's that?
So it's very similar to how you described. So everyone's in the Discord, and half the players are assigned as investigators, and half of them are assigned as ghosts. And you have a certain setup of like it's a haunted house. So some text channels and some audio channels will be like the living room, the bathroom, etc. Only the investigators are allowed to be on the talk channels. Ghosts can't say anything, but they can put stuff in the channels, so like a picture of something or share a clip of music and stuff. And the idea is that these investigators have to find out how to put these ghosts to rest. But obviously the ghosts can't talk and the investigators can't type. So it's that idea. Yeah, it's that idea of just mixing the two. And I've obviously not played it, but you can have up to 10 people doing it, and you can have as many ghosts or whatever like that. But yeah, I just
that sounds brilliant.
Yeah, exactly.
I need more. I need to build up my library of these sort of games again, because you always get. This has become the common thing is people saying, "Can you teach me to play RPGs?" And it's like, yes, definitely. I'll run a Pathfinder game for you, or a D&D game, and then they're like, there are 10 of us, or something. If it's especially it's family, and it's like, and some of them are kids, and some of them, and it's just like, okay, I guess you're all goblins as one encounter, and we'll just and just get through it. But yeah, the games that kind of play with that format that a role-playing game is 5 people around a table, I think are really valuable. So we always do a Christmas special every year on the show where we play an indie RPG, vaguely in canon with the main show. Last year we played Goblin Quest.
Nice.
Great
game.
Great. It's one of my favorite. Well, we played My Name is Inigo Montoya Jr., which is the
version of it.
The version of the Princess Bride version, which is just wonderful and has an insane body count, and nearly got us thrown out of an Airbnb once for laughing too much because we played it until the middle of the night.
That's adorable.
I love Enya Grant's games; are amazing. And then this year we're playing Come Dice with Me.
I've seen that. What's that about? Like, it looks quite intriguing.
So Come Dice with Me is by Kieran Gillen of Wicked and Divine and X-Men and all sorts, and Dive. But so it's the RPG version of Come Dine with Me. So you are all playing strangers throwing dinner parties for each other. So you roll a random character with sort of random attributes. So you might be a snooty lawyer from Liverpool, and you just get a load of adjectives to describe your character. You then write a menu that your character will serve, and then you host a dinner party, and everyone you roll to see how well the courses go. If courses go wrong, other players describe what went wrong with them, and you have to explain it, and then you score each other.
That sounds awesome. Oh my god,
tremendous! And you can blaze the parties take maybe, like, we've done them with role play in about 30 to 40 minutes an episode. So you can get a whole session done with a gaming group really quickly. But that's a lovely game, and it's free. So that is well worth.
Well, I'll be checking that. That will be added to the list.
There we go. Imagine this is long. So you're doing a thing at Dragon Meet this weekend, I think, with James from our show. You're doing
Yes.
things in space.
Yes, that's sorry. I am doing a lot at Dragon Beat, but it keeps getting confirmed and not confirmed and stuff. Yes, we're doing again. Mutual friend and Naomi from the Power Word Roll podcast is doing a Laser and Feelings one shot. Which is called Things in Space, which will be, it's really exciting. I've never actually played the I say vanilla, original version of it. I've always played like Boy Problems or another version of Lasers and Feelings, which again, if people don't know it, it literally is you have two stats, one is lasers, one is feelings. Oh no, it's not, that's a different one. It's just you have a number, you have to roll under for one and over for another. And that's, I love games which is just so simple because then you could just teach it in a sentence and then people will ask for clarification and they go, oh great, and then just go off and do their own thing. So
any game you can say this is what it is, go. That'd be fantastic. Brilliant. So what have you got coming up next? I guess how do you go about making the show? So some of them are solo and some of them are they guests, or do you have a regular cast that you use for playing for sort of group games?
So I do have basically I say a lot of friends. I'm not that popular. Sorry, I was very presumptuous of me to say that. So I went through my friends quite quickly doing sort of these sort of things, and now I'm sort of spreading out, doing collaborations here or there. And essentially, it is just I try and do stuff that I'm like, here's something I want to play, and they go, all right, who is free on these days that I will be free, and then just putting together people from that. And I'm trying to, because I've recently got into improvising and I've got a little bit of a connection with some other improvisers. So I'm slowly like trying to bring those people in who, turns out improvisers love role play and they're like, oh, rules. Ooh, can I break them? And you're like, sure. Yeah, it's because that's what improvisers are like. But yeah, I'll record quite a few in a month and then slowly but surely start editing them because it's only, I only release episodes fortnightly because unfortunately I have an office job and I can't dedicate too much time because otherwise people will notice that I'm not working. So
we've all done that.
Yeah.
What sort of do you record? You record remotely when you're doing group ones, or is it just, or do you ever do in-person ones if you can?
So we used to do them quite a bit in person, just because again that's sort of I never did online gaming or online RPGs before this, which I know sounds really silly because obviously it is such a wonderful forum of trying it, but I guess I don't know how you find this actually, Dan, is that I feel now lots of people are like, oh, discovering RPGs, but they're doing it with their friends and family, not necessarily going to play with strangers as such, or if they are playing with strangers, they know at least one other person at the table. I've never ever done that, just because I just don't know. There's a mixture of fear. Obviously, you meet people for the first time, and again, if you don't know the rules, or if you do know the rules but you don't want to like take over as a backseat DM and all that sort of thing. So I've never did it online. So I used to have like my Zoom H4n recorder, plonk that in the middle, and then have the two mics out and record that way. And then obviously coming online, I've basically just been using Zoom and Discord and just recording sort of remotely from that and then putting it in at the end. And turns out it's a lot easier online. Yeah. As long as the people's obviously internet and stuff, I know accessibility and stuff, but God, it's so easy. People have really good audio and I'm just like, great, they're not talking over each other. There's not someone in the background making dinner. We've had that a few times when I've been over and he's just like, guys, stop eating. Like, yeah, roll the dice.
It takes a lot of. It's certainly been nice. If there's been one nice thing this year, it's been that, you know, I don't have to get 6 actors into a room together for a day to record. You know, we can do it from separate places, which is mildly easier.
Oh God, that's getting. Yeah, I think for me, I'm like 4. Can I get 4 people in a room? No. So you getting 6 people in a room is like, whoa, that's legendary level. That's legendary difficulty.
Especially now, it feels like luxury now. 6 people in a room.
Oh, whoa.
So what are you excited? I always like to ask, what are you excited about gaming wise going forward? What things are coming up either sort of that you're going to do on your show or that are coming out gaming wise or are happening in the world that make you excited?
Gosh, that is a really good question. I think for me, like I've got a couple of collaborations coming up. So I've got someone else is finally running a game for me, which is really exciting. We're playing, again, apologies, I can't remember who it is because I've had so many emails in the last 2 days. We're playing The Expanse in a couple of weeks' time, which I've never played. So I'm looking forward to that. It's a 3-6 system, 3d6 system. We've also got a few. What else? Got a few interviews with people. We've got. I tell you what was exciting for me. Sorry, jumping all over the place. So I got my first freebie the other day. There's two designers who wrote a graphic novel called the Rickety Stitch. Hang on. No, it's not in my room. I was like, maybe I have it to hand. No, I don't. Two graphic novels that have come out, and they've created this comic, which is about a skeleton adventurer that comes back to life and his adventures throughout the land of Eam. And they've created like a better version of an RPG using D12s, and they sent it to me and they said, also, we'd like to send you physical copies of our book. And I was like, okay. And then they turned up, and I was like, oh my god! And then stickers. Oh, so I feel like I made it, and so I'm interviewing those two, the writer and the designer, in the new year, which I'm really excited for, because again, it's that sort of thing where they've sort of seeked out to talk to me. And I'm like, wow, no way. So I'm looking forward to actually running that game as well. Oh, wow. Those things, just like I'm always up for new projects and trying out new things. So if you're watching, please email me.
Absolutely. Well, how do people get in contact with you? How do people listen to the show if they want to get onto What Am I Rolling?
So if you want to listen to the show, we're available everywhere you find podcasts. The main website is www.wairpodcast.com. Like I said, Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. Turns out there's loads of places. It's just like put it in one place, it goes everywhere, so that's good. We come out fortnightly, and we try different podcasts. If you want to email us, if you've got a game, if you're interested in playing, I'm always happy to talk about stuff. If you want to leave a compliment, that's also really good. The email address is whatamirollingpodcast@gmail.com. It's basically the whole podcast name and just podcast at the end.
Nice. Amazing. I just finished listening to the Quill episode, and it's delightful. It's really fun. So
thank you.
Go and listen to a bunch of them. They're really, really good. Cool. This was fun. I better go and edit this so we can get it out on our live stream.
Oops.
And we have. This was really fun. Fiona, thank you so much for coming on.
Me.
And I hope have fun at Dragon Meet. Take care of James for us, please.
I'll do no promises. I'll do my best.
We'll hopefully have you on again. Thank you so much. We'll catch you later.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Well, there we go. What a terrific interview that was. And hope you enjoyed that. A little bit different to our normal sort of routine here on Dangerous Wednesdays. But I hope you enjoyed that interview. And just for some details, I will be playing a game with the lovely Fiona, and it is called Things in Space. I think you mentioned it briefly in the interview. It is happening on Saturday, this Saturday, the 5th, at 8 p.m. on Naomi's Twitch. So Naomi, a lot of you are familiar with. She's a terrific person. I am a big fan. We all are. And that's twitch.tv/Naomi Thinks It. I said that I've never actually spoken that out loud. So there we go. So Naomi Thinks It. So that's the same as her handle. Dan, yeah, it was great.
That was good fun, wasn't it? Fiona's great. It was one of those things where we were like, at the start of the interview, I was like, have we met? Because you lose track of who you've met in person, who you've met virtually, and all these sort of things. And Fiona was like, "No, we both know Naomi. That's what because Naomi is the Kevin Bacon of RPG podcasts. Everyone at some point knows someone from Power Word Roll."
Absolutely. Now you'll notice as well, you eagle-eyed viewers, the oddly changing box of Dan, because I've realised, unfortunately, Colin has gone.
I've eaten him.
Yeah, Dan actually managed to transcend the boundaries of chat boxes, and he ate Colin. So there we go. But no, he just had to pop off. So instead, we have got this now. We've got bigger Dan, but it's sort of focused a bit on your. I don't know how to say it, really. I'm not sure why it's as big as that is. It's because we've changed it midstream. But never mind. You're like peering in through the dangerous letterbox. Yeah, amazing. Well, this has been a terrific Dangerous Wednesdays. I've so enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for bearing with us on these slightly different times. We will be back to usual times, the usual place from next week. Dan, have you more to say?
We should shout out what's happening on Friday of this week, which is the first part of our Christmas special.
Good Lord. A
we,
Christmas special, you say?
The Christmas you boy. What day is it?
It's Dangerous Christmas.
Oh, a dangerous Christmas.
Don't pull a face like that, right? I'm actually 58.
So yes, sorry, that was a bit of stupidity. So yeah, what is
It's
happening?
COVID, we're all having a dangerous Christmas.
What, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm confused. I can't remember what we did. What is it?
So we are going to be playing Come Dice With Me. We talked about it a little bit on the interview with Fiona, and we did a very hurried introduction for this week's main Danger Club episode, because I'd forgotten it was coming out, or we hadn't agreed it was coming out this week when I recorded the intro for it, and so I hurriedly re-recorded the whole thing and re-edited it and got it up there just in time so we could have the announcement. But yes, we are going to be playing Come Dice With Me, which is by Kieran Gillen, who is a really good comic book writer. He wrote this, The Wicked and the Divine.
Oh yes.
And he wrote Phonogram, and he wrote X-Men, which are Uncanny X-Men. Really, really good run of Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah.
Loads of great stuff. Loads of Games Workshop stuff as well. And he's really nice. I've bumped into him a bunch of times on the indie comic circuit. But he also has designed a couple of role-playing games. He designed a game called Die, which is a role-playing game about role-playing games, which is just, and has a comic attached to it as well. That's really good. But he's also done this one called Come Dice With Me, which is a free game. You can download it for nothing.
Wait,
we'll throw
hold
the
on a
link
sec.
up.
Hold on a sec. Free?
Free, you say?
Free,
Yeah,
you say? Even Scrooge can afford those prices.
Yeah,
I'm making it
it's
Christmas, damn
free.
it.
The rules are free. You can download them. We'll throw a link to it in the description for the video for this one, and you can go get a copy of it yourself.
Yes, yes.
So it's based on the very British game show Come Dine With Me, which is a show about groups of strangers from a town somewhere who all throw dinner parties for each other, and then all of them judge the person having the dinner party, and they score each other, and at the end of the week somebody wins a tray full of cash, and we find out about everyone's weird houses, and usually two of them fall out, and there's some drama, and it's just brilliant. It is such a good show. So yeah, we're doing that, but with the Danger Club. So the Danger Club characters are going to be inviting each other to their houses to throw dinner parties for them.
Holy moly. That sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
It is. We recorded it on Monday, and oh my goodness, it got so silly so quickly. Anytime we do a special, and anytime we do a special where there's a quick turnaround on episodes, it gets weird real fast, because we just have to just keep recording past the point where we're saying they rapidly become silly.
I mean,
So
I'm rarely anything but silly. I'm going to be honest. And do you like the way I'm playing the part of the host so well that even you were taken in by the fact that I was there? There you go. You were like, I was asking the questions, that sounds crazy. Yeah.
You do this really well. Ross does the opposite all the time, where I'll start explaining something, and Ross is like, "You were there. Why are you asking?" It's like, because it's radio, Ross.
It's Radio Ross. It's Radio Ross. Oh, that's got to be a thing. Come on, Radio Ross.
Oh, that's gonna be our new segment.
Yeah, Radio Ross.
Yeah, they're really fun. They're fun
They are
episodes.
terrific.
They are about half an hour to 40 minutes each. They are packed with gags. We had so much fun doing it, and we are
really
giving
did.
the first one away completely for free. So the first one is going to come out on the main podcast feed on Friday.
Yeah.
So if anyone who is a subscriber to the Danger Club will get that episode straight away, and then we've got 4 more episodes across December, which are going to be exclusive to our patrons. So if you are listening to this on audio, then you're already a patron. You're going to get it. If you're watching it on YouTube or Twitch or something like that, and you're not a patron, patreon.com/Danger Club Podcast. £5 and up subscriber, you get all of the extra Come Dice With Me episodes.
Yeah.
All of the Christmas ones run right through to New Year's Day
And
to take you out of this terrible year.
Terrible year. Yes, exactly. And of course, you get all the other stuff that you get from being a patron subscriber as well. And yeah, That sounds absolutely terrific. I'm going to listen to it. I enjoyed it so much, so you know it's good. Terrific. Well, I mean, that does draw a close to this slightly later than scheduled Dangerous Wednesday. This has been terrific. I've had a great time. It has been very, very good. In fact, I might even get my Christmas booties out and get all bootylicious because it's nearly Christmas, everybody. Any last thoughts, Dan?
I'm going to go decorate my tree now. I'm very excited.
Oh, yes, of course, your tree. I've got tree envy. I might... Yeah, I'm just going to put on my Christmas booties. And booties. I could put my booties on. So I'm going to do that. Thank you so much for joining us as ever, everybody. And thank you for the Dangerlings who have joined us for the first time. And hopefully we'll see you again soon on Dangerous Wednesdays. And, well, I think it just leaves me to say it's goodbye from Dan.
Good night, everybody. Thank you very much for bearing with us. Thank you for enjoying this experiment. We will see you next time.
Indeed. And, of course, it's good night from me, your host, James Foxy Lockhart, wishing you a very happy Wednesday. And remember, stay dangerous. See you later, guys.
Stay Wednesday!
Stay Wednesday!